Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Shri Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to today's Vaikuṇṭha class. This morning we will be discussing from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 5, verse 222. The chapter is entitled The Glories of Lord Nityananda Balaram. We're very happy to have His Grace Vishtigada Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Vancha Kalpatabyascha, Kripasindavevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And it's all yours, Prabhu.
Well, thank you. I saw you had up the Padma Karuna prayer. Okay. And if it would be great if devotees could unmute if they're in a position where they can. We have so few opportunities to have chant and response kirtan. So I'd like to take advantage as much as we can. If you can unmute, that'd be great. If not, it's okay. Parama karuna pahu dvijan nitai gaurachandra.
Parama Karuna Pahu Dvijana Nitai Gaura Chandra.
Shab avatar Shad Shiramani Kevala Ananda Kanda.
Sabhavatar Shara Shiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda.
Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudridha Vishwasha Kari.
Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudrida Vishwasakori.
Vishaya Chadiya Sera Se Majia Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari.
Vishaya Chadiya Sera Se Majia Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari.
Dekha Ore Bhai Tribhuvane Nai Emona Doyala Data.
Dekho re bhai Tribhuvane nai Emona doyala tata.
Pashupaki Jure Pashana Vidare Shuni Jar Gunagata.
Pashupaki chure Pashana vidare Suni Chandra Guna Kata.
Kangsare Majia Rohili Padia Shepode Nahilo Asha.
Samsare Malia Rohili Korea Sepade Nahilo
Apana Korama Bhunjaye Shamana
Apana
Kahaye
Karama
Lochandasa.
Apana
Apana
karama
Karama
Punjaya
Bhunjaya
Shamana
Shamana
Ahoye Lochana
Lochandasa
Dasa.
Parama Karuna Pahu Dvijana Nitai Gorachandra.
Rama
Parama
Karuna Pahu
Pahudvijana
Dvijana Nitai
Nitai
Gaura
Gaurachandra
Chandra.
Parama Karuna Pahu Dvijana Nitai Gorachandra.
Parama
Parama
Karuna
Karuna Pahu
Pahudvijana
Dvijana Nitai
Nitai
Gaura Chandra.
Gaurachandra
Prabhavatar Shad Shiramani Kevala Ananda Kanda.
Sabhavatar
Sabhavatar Shara
Sarashiromani
Shiromani
Kevala
Kevala Nanda
Ananda
Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtotara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai.
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 Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
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 Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai.
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 Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai.
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 Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai.
Jai.
Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Gangamayi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Tulsi Devi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Bhakti Devi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shamaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaur Prem Anande.
Hari Hari Bolo.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hari Bol. Nama
Jai Shri
Om
Guru.
Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Shami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, Chapter 5, text number 222. I know Sarvanga Sundar Damodar, you're not from Bengal, but still, if you'd like to chant the verse, you're welcome to.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances or
Yes,
glory,
yes.
Prabhupada. With your permission, Prabhu. caudda-bhuvane yāṅra sabe kare dhyāna Vaikuṇṭhādi-pure yāṅra līlā-guṇa gāna.
Just a little point is that in Bengali, all Y's are J's. Did you know that?
Yeah, they do that.
All Y's are like Srila Prabhupada would say, Acharya, even though it's a Y, Acharya. Jahar Prashade Bhai E Bhava Turiya Jai. Good. Anyway, translation. Everyone in the 14 worlds meditates upon him, and all the denizens of Vaikuṇṭha sing of his qualities and pastimes. Next verse.
Jara madhurite kare lakshmi akarshana Rupa gosai kariya che se rupa varnana.
Translation. The goddess of fortune is attracted by his sweetness, which Srila Rupa Goswami has described in this way. Report. Srila Rupa Goswami, in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, has quoted from the Padma Purana, where it is stated that Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, after seeing the attractive features of Lord Krishna, was attracted to him. And to get the favor of Lord Krishna, she engaged herself in meditation. When asked by Krishna why she engaged in meditation with austerity, Lakshmi Devi answered, I want to be one of your associates like the gopis in Vrindavan. Hearing this, Lord Sri Krishna replied that it was quite impossible. Lakshmi Devi then said that she wanted to remain just like a golden line on the chest of the Lord. The Lord granted the request, and since then, Lakshmi has always been situated on the chest of Lord Krishna as a golden line. The austerity and meditation of Lakshmi Devi are also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 16th chapter, 36th verse, where the Naga Patnis, the wives of the serpent Kaliya, in the course of their prayers to Krishna, said that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, also wanted his association as a gopi and desired the dust of his lotus feet. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Shayanam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Shapandantika Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Before speaking, I would like to ask the blessings and permission and blessings of all devotees, and particularly those who are more advanced by age or advancement in Krishna consciousness. Please. Hare Krishna. This verse of Rupa Goswami has quoted this point of the Padma Purana about Lakshmi Devi performing austerities in order to become an associate of Lord Krishna, but particularly in Vrindavan, like a gopi in the rasa dance. So this aspect of Krishna and the gopis, in contrast to Lakshmi Narayan, was elaborately discussed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was in South India, staying at the house of Venkata Bhatt in Rangakshetra during the 4 months of the rainy season as he was touring South India. Because Venkata Bhatt was a devotee in the line of Ramanujacharya, or the Sri Vaishnava sect, and generally they worship Lakshmi Narayan or Sitaram. They prefer to worship Lakshmi Narayan and Sitaram more than the worship of Radha Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya had some discussion with Venkata Bhatta about this particular issue of Lakshmi Devi performing austerities and penance and meditation in order to get the association of Lord Krishna. And we'll read that in a few minutes if it's okay. Just a little point here is that Lord Krishna didn't reward her object, her desire directly. He gave her another reward. What was that reward? She wanted to associate with Lord Krishna. So her Lord Krishna said, "Oh, it's impossible to join to join the rasa dance and become a gopi like Vrindavan. But you can remain like a golden lion on the chest of the Lord. You know that's called? What is that called? Dear Krishna Prabhu knows. Come on. No. Sri Vatsa. You've never heard Sri Vatsa? So here, it's described that a golden line on the chest of the Lord, which is like a hair, and in other places sometimes it's called a white, curly white hair on the chest of the Lord, and that's the place of Lakshmi. Lakshmi. So the Sri Vatsa, Vatsa means chest. Like, yeah. So Sri Vatsa is there. That's the residence of Lakshmi Devi, and of course that Sri Vatsa is also there on the chest of Lord Narayan, because in the Vaikuṇṭha planets, there are many devotees who have the same form as Lord Krishna, as Lord Narayan. That's called Sarupya Mukti. They have 4 hands, beautiful shyama color, helmets, lotus eyes, etc. And the only way to distinguish between the devotees of Narayan and Narayan is just in case you're going to Vaikuṇṭha and you need to distinguish between Narayan and the devotees of Narayan. This is the special secret how to distinguish. Of course, we can serve the devotees as well as Narayan, but still. So the way you can distinguish is because Narayan also has Sri Vatsa on his
Yeah,
chest.
the line. Okay, the golden line.
Yeah. Sometimes it's called a line, sometimes it's called a curly white hair. So apparently, prior to Lakshmi Devi doing these austerities, that line wasn't there on the chest of Lord Krishna. And at a certain point, it was. Lord Krishna agreed to allow her to be the gold line on the chest of the Lord. Do you follow? Any questions or comments about this so far?
Prabhu, so what you're saying is that sometimes the line is not there, the white curly hair, sometimes it's not. And why is that so, Prabhu?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying,
Oh, okay.
with Lord Krishna, at some point, apparently, at some point, the line wasn't there. And then Lakshmi Devi engaged in austerities, and then Krishna gave her the benediction. Okay, you're not going to be able to join the rasa dance, but you can be there on my chest as Srivatsa. Although previously she may have been on the chest of Narayan. We don't have any timely or chronology here in this. It could be that Lakshmi Devi wasn't on the chest of Narayan even before that. I don't know. But anyway, at some point, she became on the chest of Lord Krishna and of Narayan also, because that's how they distinguish between devotees and Lord Narayan himself in the Vaikuṇṭha planets. So this is some important ideas or understanding we can get from this verse. One is that in order to please Krishna, in order to get the mercy of Krishna, one has to do it in his way. It's not that we can make up a method to attain Krishna's favor and then Krishna is obliged to us. But Krishna gives a method to approach him, and we can say, well, we'd like to do it some other way. There's so many ways, there's so many different paths, we'll take one of those paths. But Lord Krishna gives a path, and if we're actually interested in attaining Krishna's lotus feet, we should follow the path given by Lord Krishna himself. Just like if you want to eat, there are many different holes in the body, but the body hole that works best for eating is the mouth. All of them are holes in the body, but you can try to eat through the ears or the eyes or the nose, but that won't be effective. The scientific method is intake through the mouth. So similarly, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all methods ultimately come to Krishna, but the final method, the ultimate method to come to Krishna is in the way he says. Therefore, he says, you approach me by bhakti yoga. The verse in the Bhagavad Gita, there's many kinds of yogis. Yogi nam, karma yogi, jnana yogi, ashtanga yogi, yogi nam api sarvesham madgunte nantaratmana shradhavan bhajate yomam samayukta tamo mata. But that yogi who's always meditating on me within himself and worshiping me in transcendental service, that's the best. I find that yogi is the topmost. They'll be able to achieve Krishna directly. And another point is being made is like we have to approach Krishna the way he says. Similarly, Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, or directs in the Bhagavad Gita, not to approach him directly, but by engaging in the service and hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. If you want to understand the truth, then three things. You have to approach a bona fide guru. Pranipat means offer respect. And sevaya means service. Then it's not just an academic exercise. Like in school, there are so many facts one has to learn, and on a test, you have to replete those facts. And if you do in a proper way, then you get a good grade. You go on. But that's not how it is in Krishna consciousness. We can say, oh, I am an eternal servant of Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We may have memorized those facts, but that's not enough. We actually have to engage in service, act in that knowledge. That's called vigyan. Gyan and vigyan. Gyan means knowledge, and vigyan means applied knowledge or realization. So Lakshmi Devi here didn't follow the footsteps of the gopis. Therefore, she didn't achieve her goal. You follow? Krishna had his method. Go ahead.
No, my question probably is which of the step did she not follow? Was it the service part?
She didn't follow. Well, I'm making an analogy. So in order to enter the rasa dance, one has to follow in the footsteps of the damsels of Vraja. So even though Lakshmi Devi was engaged in meditation and austerity, she, even though she's incredibly elevated and wonderful, she didn't take that method of following in the footsteps of the gopis. But we'll see that the Shruti Ganas, the personified Vedas, they did achieve entrance into the rasa dance. How? Because they followed in the footsteps of the gopis. You follow? Yeah. We'll read that later, the later verse. We'll read that. Yeah. Anyway, so the point I'm making is that one should accept or follow the path that's chalked out by Krishna himself. And of course, the great authorities are the great authorities and spiritual masters are going to give the same recommendation to follow the path of Krishna, not to make up one's own path. So in the Krishna consciousness movement, we are accepting the path chalked out by all the acharyas, and by particularly by the most recent link in the disciplic succession that's accepted by all of the devotees in the ISKCON Hare Krishna movement, as we follow the instructions and service of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We don't make up our own methods of worship or progress. So it behooves us in the Hare Krishna movement to study how Srila Prabhupada did things in all different ways. And it's not that we imitate. Imitate means without understanding or without understanding the purpose, but following the instructions or following the example of Srila Prabhupada. For example, we like to chant in the beginning of this Chaitanya Charitamrita class, Parama Karuna. Why? Why? Any ideas?
Because Srila Prabhupada did that. So we're
Yeah.
following the footsteps. Yes.
That's right. I mean, of course we could do other things. It's not that it's absolutely required. You got to do everything exactly, but on the other hand, Srila Prabhupada was very particular about how things were done. For example, you're all familiar with the Bhakti Charu Maharaj, my dear god brother who passed away, unfortunately. But he was a very good servant of Srila Prabhupada in Prabhupada's later days with us. So Srila Prabhupada showed him how to make a particular vegetable called badi chachari. Have you ever heard of this? Badi chachari?
Yes, Prabhu, I read it somewhere. I just read the name, but yes, somewhere in one of the pastimes.
But it's only badi chachari. It's a famous preparation that Srila Prabhupada liked, and he made the preparation. It's in his diary coming over on the Jaladuta that he made it, and he said it tasted like nectar, badi chachari. It's a vegetable with portal and eggplants and lots of ghee and lots of chilies. And the cooking it, you scorch it on the bottom. It gets a crust, potatoes, portals, like that. Anyway, lots of chilies. So Srila Prabhupada showed Bhakti Charu Maharaj how to make it. And then one day, Srila Prabhupada asked Bhakti Charu Maharaj to make it. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada's health, he wasn't feeling too good. So Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he decided, well, I won't put the chilies in because Srila Prabhupada's not feeling so well, so it might disturb his stomach. So he made it that way. And guess what happened?
Prabhupada complained.
Not only complained, he chastised him. I showed you how to make this just I showed you, and still now you've changed it. Why have you changed it? Why have you changed it? I showed you how to make it. Of course, you know, Bhakti Chaudhary had the idea, well, Srila Prabhupada's health was not in top condition, so I adjusted it. But of course, he could have asked. He could have asked Srila Prabhupada. But anyway, this I'm giving an example about how Srila Prabhupada was very particular about how things were done in his service and in Krishna's service. It's not that one could do whatever we like in any way we like. In most ways, yeah, there's certain ways that Srila Prabhupada was more flexible than others, but in terms of serving what pleases him, he was very, very particular. For example, Hari Sari became Srila Prabhupada's servant in 1976, I think. No, late 1975. And Srila Prabhupada would have him, he would bring prasadam in for Srila Prabhupada, but then he wouldn't wipe the table before or after, and Prabhupada would criticize him. He said, saying, "This is you're coming from a mlecha background." Very strong words. Very strong words. So it's important for us to study Srila Prabhupada's what he wanted, how he did things, and try to follow as much as we can. There's certain aspects of that there's more flexibility. For example, Srila Prabhupada, we heard at the beginning of this class, Srila Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna. That was very interesting because you could hear there were a lot of drums playing, but I didn't hear anybody singing in response. Did you notice that? I couldn't figure that out. I couldn't figure it out because Srila Prabhupada was chanting both the call and response. Anyway, that was unusual. But Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter, two letters actually, one to a devotee named Ekayani in New York, who asked Srila Prabhupada, are there any particular tunes when we chant Hare Krishna that are bona fide? So guess what Srila Prabhupada answered?
Don't know, Prabhu.
And what about dear Krishna Prabhu? Is he there still?
No, I think he had to drop off because of
Okay.
work.
All right. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada wrote back, as long as you chant Hare Krishna, any tune is bona fide. As long as you chant Hare Krishna, he wrote that. So still, on top of that, and so it's okay to chant any tune, but Srila Prabhupada did like the tunes that he introduced. For example, if you go to prabhupadvani.org, you'll find there's 31 examples of Srila Prabhupada leading kirtan. 31. Those are most of the recordings of Srila Prabhupada leading kirtan. Later in the Hare Krishna movement, Srila Prabhupada didn't lead kirtan in the assembly of devotees as much. I don't know why that is. He began leading kirtan for the Jaya Radha Madhava. But anyway, so of those 31, half of the time he chanted the standard mantra that we heard this morning, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So half of the time, another quarter of the time, he chanted the morning tune. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. So 3/4 of the time, he chanted those two tunes. And then there was about 3 or 4 other tunes that he chanted once or twice. That's it, of the 31. So that's very interesting. So although he said that any tune is bona fide when you chant Hare Krishna, still he chanted those tunes primarily. You follow? Yeah. Interesting point. So, yeah, so we're doing things according to following, like Lakshmi Devi. She didn't follow the method of the gopis, so she didn't get entrance. So we're trying to please Lord Krishna by pleasing Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master by following their instructions. If a person, if the spiritual master asks for water and you bring milk, oh, it's better. Milk is better. It's nice. Oh, it's not going to work. So we have to be a little careful about this aspect of Krishna consciousness, and to avoid not making progress when we have the opportunity to do so. So I'd like to read from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't know if you want to change it so we can read it on the screen.
Yes, Prabhu. If you tell me the verse, Prabhu, I can pull it up.
Yeah, it's Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila,
Mm-hmm.
9th chapter,
Oops. 9th chapter.
111th verse.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember, this is in South India. Lord Chaitanya is at the house of Venkata Bhatt. And Venkata Bhatta's son, this time was about 10 years old, is Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Sarvanga Shunda, you want to read the Bengali? You still there? Are you busy?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes. प्रभु कहे भट्ट तोमारा लक्ष्मी ठाकुरानी कांत वक्ष स्थिता पतिव्रता शिरोमणि.
Yes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the Bhattacharya, your worshipable goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, always remains on the chest of Narayan. And she is certainly the most chaste woman in the creation. Next.
हमारा ठाकुर कृष्ण गोप गोचाकर चारक साध्वीहान के न चाहे ताहार संगम.
However, my Lord is Lord Sri Krishna, a cowherd boy who is engaged in tending cows. Why is it that Lakshmi, being such a chaste wife, wants to associate with my Lord?
ए लागे सुख भोग छाड़ी चिर काल व्रत नियम करी तप करिल अपार.
Just to associate with Krishna, Lakshmi abandoned all transcendental happiness in Vaikuṇṭha and for a long time accepted vows and regulative principles and performed unlimited austerities.
This one is I think like
Sanskrit.
Bhagavatam.
Kasyanu bhavo shinadeva vidmahe tavangirenu spashadadhikara yadvanchaya shri lalanacharattapo vihaya kaman suchiram vrata. This is a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya attained such an opportunity to be touched by the dust of your lotus feet. Even the goddess of fortune, for this end, performed austerities for centuries, giving up all desires and observing austere vows. Indeed, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya got such an opportunity. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16-36 was spoken by the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Do you understand what that point is of this? Sarvanga Sundar Prabhu?
Of reading, or
So what is Lord Chaitanya's point?
the point is that Lakshmi Devi is like wife of Narayan. So why does she want to associate with Lord Krishna?
Yeah, yes. And the Nagapatnis, the wives of Kaliya, are astonished Because
She is doing so many austerities for it.
the wives of Kali are astonished because
Because of the austerities, like she is doing austerities for
because their husband, the Kaliya serpent,
husband.
is getting the dust of Krishna's lotus feet because Krishna is dancing on the hoods of his heads. So how is their Kaliya serpent, whereas Lakshmi didn't get that. She didn't get that. Yeah,
So, which means, Prabhu, that's lack of a better word, that he's making a point of comparison, right? How is it that Kaliya got the mercy, but Lakshmi Devi didn't get the mercy?
Yes. Okay, next text.
भट्ट कहे कृष्ण नारायण एक स्वरूप कृष्ण ते अधिक लीला वैदग्ध्यादि रूप.
Venkata Bhatt then said, Lord Krishna and Lord Narayan are one and the same, but the pastimes of Krishna are more relishable due to their sportive nature. So this is part of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, that there's achintya bhed abhed tattva, achintya bhed abhed tattva, simultaneously one and different. So Krishna and Narayan are simultaneously one, but also different. The soul and God are simultaneously one, but different. The Krishna, the soul is the energy of God, and the energy, tatastha shakti, the energy and the energetic are in one sense one. The spiritual master and Krishna are simultaneously one, but different. You follow? Spiritual. Sometimes in the first chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the words are used. The spiritual master is an identical manifestation of Krishna. Identical. Can you imagine? Identical. So you can get hung up on that. Identical usually means what? Equal in all respects, doesn't it? But the spiritual master is not equal in all respects. Is equal in that he or she can deliver Krishna. So even if you think about it, even in this world, you have identical twins, right? Are identical twins exactly the same? There's some difference. And they're two different people right off the bat. But then, if you know any identical twins, they don't look exactly the same. They have different, so identical, but identical includes, even though they're identical, there's still difference. So and according to the different things we're talking about, those differences are varied. So the difference between the soul and God is different than the differences between Narayan and Krishna, or between the spiritual master and Krishna, but still they're all considered non-different. Okay, that's my spiel. Go ahead, Sarvanga.
तारस्पर्शे नाही जाया पतिव्रता धर्म कौतुके लक्ष्मी चाहे न कृष्ण रसंगम.
So this is Venkata, but since Krishna and Narayan are the same personality, simultaneously one, Lakshmi's association with Krishna does not break her vow of chastity. Rather, it was in great fun that the goddess of fortune wanted to associate with Lord Krishna. Purport. This is the answer to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's question. And from this, we can understand that Venkat Bhatt knew the truth. He told Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Narayan is a form of Krishna associated with transcendental opulence. Although Krishna is two-armed and Narayan is four-armed, there's no difference in their person. They are one and the same. Narayan is as beautiful as Krishna, but Krishna's pastimes are more sportive. It is not that the sportive pastimes of Krishna make him different from Narayan. Lakshmi's desiring to associate with Krishna was perfectly natural. In other words, it is understandable that a chaste woman wants to associate with her husband in all his different dresses. Therefore, one should not criticize Lakshmi for wanting to associate with Krishna. You got that? Okay, next. This is Sanskrit. Is it?
Okay,
Go ahead.
you can go ahead, Prabhu.
Siddhantastvede pi Shrisha Krishna Swarupayo Rasaneto Krishyate Krishna Rupam Esha Rasastiti. Vaikuṇṭha Bhatta continued. According to the transcendental realization, there is no difference between the forms of Narayan and Krishna. Yet in Krishna, there is a special transcendental attraction due to the conjugal mellow, and consequently, he surpasses Narayan. This is the conclusion of transcendental mellows. This verse quoted by Vaikuṇṭha Bhatta is also found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.259.
कृष्ण संगे पतिव्रता धर्म नाहे नाश अधिक लाभ पाइया आर रस विलास.
The goddess of fortune considered that her vow of chastity would not be damaged by her relationship with Krishna. Rather, by associating with Krishna, she could enjoy the benefit of the rasa dance. Rasa dance. Yeah.
विनोदिनी लक्ष्मीर हय कृष्णे अभिलाष इहातेपि दोष केने कर परिहास.
Vaikuṇṭha Bhatta further explained, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is also an enjoyer of transcendental bliss. Therefore, if she wanted to enjoy herself with Krishna, what is the fault there? Why are you joking so about this?
प्रभु कहे दोष नाही इहा मिजानी रासन पाइला लक्ष्मी शास्त्रे ये सुनी.
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I know that there is no fault on the part of the goddess of fortune, but still, she could not enter into the rasa dance. We hear this from the revealed scriptures. Nayam Shriyonga U Nitanta Rate Prashada Svaryoshitang Malina Gandharucham Kutonya Rasotsavesya Bhujadanda Grihita Kantha Labdha Shishamya Udagad Vajra Sundarinam. When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Lila, the gopis were embraced around the neck by the Lord's arms. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or the other concepts of the spiritual world, nor was such a thing ever imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma were exactly resembled the beauty and fragrance of lotus flowers. And what to speak of worldly women who may be very, very beautiful according to material estimation. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-60.
लक्ष्मी के ने ना पाइला इहार की कारण तप करी कायचे कृष्ण पाइला श्रुति गण.
But can you tell me why the goddess of fortune Lakshmi could not enter the rasa dance? The authorities of Vedic knowledge could enter the dance and associate with Krishna. Nibritta marun manoksha dritayoga yujo hridiyan muniya upasate tad arayo piyayu smaranat striya ura gendra bhoga bhuja danda vishakto dhiyo vayam apite samasamadrishodgri saroja shuddha. Great sages conquer the mind and senses by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath. Thus, engaging in mystic yoga, they see the supersoul within their hearts and ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman. But even the enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead attain that position simply by thinking of the Supreme Lord. However, the damsels of Braja, the gopis, being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, simply wanted to embrace him and his arms, which are like serpents. Thus, the gopis ultimately tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, we Upanishads can also taste the nectar of his lotus feet by following in the footsteps of the gopis. Purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:87-23.
श्रुति पाय लक्ष्मी ना पाय इथे की कारण भटक है या प्रवेशिते नार मोर मन.
Having been asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu why the goddess of fortune could not enter into the rasa dance, whereas the authorities of Vedic knowledge could, Venkata Bhatt replied, I cannot enter into the mysteries of this behavior.
आमी जीव शूद्र बुद्धि सहजे अस्थिर ईश्वरेर लीला कोटि समुद्र गंभीर.
Venkata Bhatt then said, I am an ordinary human being. Since my intelligence is very limited and I am easily agitated, my mind cannot enter within the deep ocean of the pastimes of the Lord.
तुम्ही साक्षात ते कृष्ण जन जान निज कर्म जारे जाना ह ते जाने तुम्हारा लीला मर्म.
You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. You know the purport of your activities, and the person whom you enlighten can also understand your pastimes. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his pastimes cannot be understood by blunt material senses. One has to purify the senses by rendering transcendental loving service unto the Lord. When the Lord is pleased and reveals himself, one can understand the transcendental form, name, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad and Mundaka Upanishad. Yam evaisha vrinute tena labhyas tasyaisha atma vivirnuti tanum svam. Anyone who is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead can understand his transcendental name, qualities, form, and pastimes. Hare Krishna.
प्रभु कहे
We don't have to go any
कृष्ण
further. Thank you.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
it. I'm sorry. I should have said. I was just thinking that's the good place for ending because it's almost time, and if there's any questions, yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a wonderful class. I was actually going on enjoying it. Didn't even think the time was 9 o'clock. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for really this enlightening class. I would like to ask devotees if any questions, any comments, reflections, please do raise your hand, or you can just jump right in and or you can put in the chat and I'll be happy to read it. Prabhu, I have a question, and if you could clarify this, Prabhu, how do we know whether we are following and not imitating?
Well, it'll depend on the particular thing that's being. You have to research a little bit. What it'll depend on certain what the activity is you're doing. On one hand, sometimes it's said that the good disciple knows what the spiritual master wants even without his telling, isn't it? But on the other hand, we're said that to follow in the footsteps and follow exactly what the spiritual master says. So it takes a little trick, and so that's why we have association of devotees. That's why you have shastras, and it's hard to make a blanket statement about that. But one, for example, I mean, so Srila Prabhupada was criticized sometimes. I'm giving an example of Srila Prabhupada and Shastra, but so for example, on Gaur Purnima, the devotees in Mayapur distributed grain prasadam. Although Srila Prabhupada himself and the ISKCON devotees, they were taking only Ekadashi prasadam late in the day after the moonrise. So Srila Prabhupada was criticized. Oh, by his godbrothers. Oh, you're distributing halava during the day for these people. Shouldn't they be? So, it's really it's a little tricky. So Prabhupada commented that it's more important for the general mass of people to take prasadam than following. But for serious people who are following, trying to follow carefully, then yes, they should fast until moonrise and take Ekadashi prasad. It really depends in detail about the particular item that we're discussing, we're interested in. And it takes a little research, talk with the godbrothers, talk with the god sisters, and see what Prabhupada did in different circumstances. For example, another example, Srila Prabhupada says on chanting Hare Krishna, as far as possible, chanting from the lips of a pure devotee, you should hear chanting from the lips of a pure devotee. Okay. But then, according to the version of the miracle on Second Avenue, when there was the Manta Rock dance in San Francisco in 1967 January, Srila Prabhupada had Allen Ginsberg lead kirtan for a while. What do you make of that?
Prabhu, is it because Srila Prabhupada asked? So it's not like Allen Ginsberg took the stage and chose to do it. He was asked by Srila Prabhupada, so he followed the
Yeah.
instructions, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So I mean, so how do we understand that? Because on one hand, Prabhupada said, but the best thing is to hear from the lips of a pure devotee, right? The best thing is to hear from the lips of a pure devotee. So, but in a certain circumstance, he adjusted it there a little bit. That here are these people. It was advertised that he was going to be present. And they're all followers of, many of them were followers of the philosophy of Allen Ginsberg. So having Allen Ginsberg chant is certainly giving an opportunity for service in that one instance. I mentioned this to Shruta Kirti, who's Prabhupada's longtime servant, and he said, "Yeah, but when Allen Ginsberg came to the manor, Bhaktivedanta Manor, and he wanted to chant, and he started chanting, and the Prabhupada stopped him and said, "No, please, someone else chant." So in a certain circumstance, anyway, so looking at circumstances, when I was in Hyderabad in 1975, there was this big pandal, thousands of people came, and Prabhupada spoke. And before Srila Prabhupada spoke, they had a member of parliament speak on the stage to introduce, Srila Prabhupada. Often in India they did that, have a dignitary speak. But this time the dignitary, he spoke. It was only Mayavadi philosophy, complete Mayavadi philosophy for 10, 15 minutes. And I couldn't understand. But Srila Prabhupada was, and when it comes down to it, this person is saying something good about ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada and the Hare Krishna movement. So he's accepting his service, even though it's very messy. He's accepting his service. So there might be adjustments to see how Prabhupada adjusted. So does that mean we're going to get somebody to speak and to speak in personal philosophy in our temples? No. But in this certain circumstance, it's like that. Anyway, so it depends on the details. And that's an opportunity to talk about it when there's a question about am I following or am I imitating?
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps at all.
Yes, Prabhu, it does. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else would like to ask a question, please do raise your hand or jump right in. I know we're past the hour, but I don't want to miss anybody. If you have a question, and if you don't, Prabhu, it's a little bit noisy on my end because Parikshit is listening from the rehab, but the rehab Wi-Fi is so bad, so I have him on the phone, but
Oh,
the
I see.
nurse
Okay.
keeps coming in, so I have to keep muting him.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's been
We,
so he's
we
gonna
wish
get.
we wish him a strong recovery for Krishna service. Yeah, yeah. Come on.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah,
Is
I
there
told
is
him
there is there an estimated time when he'll be recovering?
2 weeks in rehab. He just got discharged from the hospital and got directly transferred to rehab on 2 days ago, which was Tuesday. and the PT and OT came in yesterday and they said 2 weeks. So a week before Thanksgiving. So we are hoping because it's been a long journey. Yeah, so yes, Prabhu. And he said that I'll send him the link and he can hear the class because he got interrupted quite a bit by the staff. So thank you so much, Prabhu. And let me see, I just heard a comment on the book. Okay. Thank you so much for all of you for joining us. And thank you, Prabhu.
One comment,
Yes,
one
Prabhu,
comment is that,
please.
you know, some devotees say that yesterday was the rasa dance, you know, rasa yatra.
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought this was appropriate to talk because we're talking on that subject.
Please, Prabhu.
Yeah, so I mean, what we did already.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you.
It's
That was
relevant to that
wonderful.
point. Yeah.
Yes. It helps to clarify a lot of points, and it's really amazing, Prabhu, how you are speaking, how you are sharing what Prabhupada said and from the Shastra, that even Lakshmi Devi couldn't enter because she had, in order to do that, she had to follow the footsteps of the gopis. That was pretty powerful. That was pretty powerful. Yes. So what does it make of us? Who are we to copy? So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you to all the devotees for joining us. Vanchakrapatibhyascha, kripasindhabevacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.